Yes, sir. Welcome in, everyone, to episode 294 of the Dream Wager. Today is August 7th, 2023. As always, I'm your host, D-Rock, and joining me, as always, our NBA guru, my partner in crime, E. How you doing, kid?
I'm doing great, Dylan. Lovely Monday. It was a little, down early this morning. No sunshine, but now rain clear, sun busting, nice, cool day, not too hot. Gotta love it.
Yeah, it was pouring all day at work today. It was kind of a miserable day, I'm not going to lie. But yeah, everything's cleared up now. Kind of humid. I was outside just recently, but getting a little on the humid side. But it's the dog days of summer in August. What are you going to do? It's training camp weather. You know, those two-a-days. I used to hate those two-a-days. But got a lot to talk about today. We'll recap a little that happened over the weekend. We got some baseball plays as well. And then we'll continue our two-a-days. We got the NFC East. We'll start in the Big D, Dallas, and we'll take a look at the Commanders. I don't know if I should keep calling them the Commanders because officially their name isn't the Commanders just yet. Like, I still don't know what I'm going to be calling them. I think I might go back to the old faithful, if you know what I mean, the Redskins. But real quick, we had a bunch of fights over the weekend, but one on the diamond, Tim Anderson and Jose Ramirez. Holy shit, that was a better fight than the main event. I'm not gonna lie, it was that good. Tim Anderson, credit the ump. Ump said, "I don't get paid enough. I'm gonna step
Yeah.
aside." Credit the ump.
The ump saw. He said, "All right, y'all want to fight? All right, cool. Yeah, go at it. Y'all go at it."
It was amazing. I mean, what a body shot from Tim Anderson. And then Jose just with the overhand right connected, and it was over. He should have stayed on the floor. That's my theory, because then it would have been like, damn, he's really hurt. Then we can't make fun of him. But he got up and he just gave us all the bait. It
So,
was bad.
eh, Tim Anderson, if you're gonna knuckle up, at least you gotta at least prepare to stand on your toes. You gotta at least prepare to stay on your toes. I understand Jose Ramirez punches were kind of wild. They're kind of wild.
Yeah, they were
But
wild.
but when that motherfucker landed, you ain't see you was out. You checked out. You clocked out for the day. You
Oh, yeah.
you got suspended at that. You was tripping all the way back to the dugout. You probably didn't even eat solid food that night. So Tim Anderson, next time you knuckle up, be ready to either one, not to knuckle up, or two, at least have your jaw ready, my boy, because that wasn't a good look. The fact that you was just tripping over yourself, couldn't make it back without assistance to the dugout after, I want to say you started the fight, but you knuckled up first.
Yeah,
You
he
threw your
did.
shits up. My man Jose Ramirez just wanted to talk. You wanted to knuckle up, and then, it is what it is, but come on, Tim Anderson. You got to do better than that, my boy.
Yeah, and now there was a report earlier in the day that one of his teammates, right before the All-Star break, wanted to go home early and, kind of take the game off, not play as hard. And Tim Anderson said, fuck it, if that guy doesn't want to be here, I'll pay for his flight home. The guy came up to him and smacked him in the face. So he's taking L's left and right. He only has one home run this season. Just an overall bad season for Tim Anderson. I mean, honestly, the one home run is worse than having zero home runs. Like, at least no one's paying attention to you, but you have just one. Like, it just went from worse to bad, or bad to worse for Tim Anderson. But yeah, he got beat up. Other than that, it's been a quiet weekend in the sports world. Nothing really happened. No real news. I guess I'll ask this to you real quick before we get to the Cowboys. No, Zach Martin he's still holding out. They're finding him every day. I think he's lost about 250,000 so far. He's going to continue to hold out. He wants to be compensated like a top 5 offensive lineman in the league, which I think he is. Are you worried that it's going to get to a point where he's going to demand a trade, or do you think that the Cowboys and Jerry Jones are going to get a deal done here?
I think we get a deal done. Remember, like what, three seasons ago, we saw how nasty things got with Jerry Jones and Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah.
Ezekiel Elliott, I think even week one, no, just right before week one, he was still in Cabo. So I said this goes to what if they play Sunday. I think they get a contract done. Wednesday night of week one. So I think it drags out all preseason. Deal. At the end of the day, he's a veteran. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. You can
Yeah.
make the case he's one of the best tackles in football. So
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, I think Jerry Jones just got to own up and just pay the man. You made Dak Prescott the highest paid quarterback when he shouldn't be. Zach Markin, I'm not saying he should be the highest paid
But
tackle,
up there.
but nobody's gonna be like, oh, why you made him the highest paid. So it's not gonna be a bad of an eye if you make him the highest paid. All I'm saying is I think he deserves at least a 3-year, 4-year extension for what he's done throughout his career for the Dallas Cowboys.
And
And
they
remember,
also, yeah.
Dill, one last caveat for the people who don't remember. Jerry Jones was gonna draft Johnny Manziel.
Imagine that.
No, I just want people to understand this. He was gonna draft Johnny Manziel, who's just dropped a documentary. But Stephen Jones, his son, said, no, we're drafting this guy named Zach Martin.
Thank God they did.
Which turned out to be one of the best decisions in Cowboys history.
Yeah.
So remember, you got a Hall of Fame offensive tackle for the last 10 seasons, and you was going to get Johnny Manziel. That alone, you should honestly pay that man.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. I forgot about that. Was the
Yeah.
same draft. But yeah, and they took care of they took care of Trayvon, Malik Hooker as well. So they took care of their secondary, but there's Tony Pollard, still no deal, but he's not expected to miss camp.
He signed the franchise tag.
Oh, he did sign it. Okay, so he is there for the year.
He's getting $10 million, in which I understand, just because he's coming off that broken leg, fractured leg, whatever it was. He coming off season-ending surgery against 49ers last season. So I understand why they couldn't get a long-term deal done with him. But like Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, Saquon, all those guys are coming off healthy seasons. They didn't have off-season surgery, and they couldn't get a deal done. At least with Tony Pollard, it's understandable just because he had off-season surgery.
If he doesn't get hurt, do you think he has a long-term deal with the Cowboys?
Still, if Tony Pollard just does what he does last season without getting hurt in the playoffs still, I'm not saying he's going to get a Zeke Elliott concert, but all I'm saying is we know Jerry Jones take care of his guys. That's all I'm going to say, Dill.
Yeah, I think if he doesn't get hurt, I definitely think he would have got a nice payday. Yeah. But yeah, it's very interesting. I just wanted, your opinion on that before we touch on the Cowboys. But we'll start on the diamond. We'll get right into it. Elvis only got one game going on right now. Padres. Oh my God, the Dodgers came back 8-5. It was 5-0 at one point. Dodgers came all the way back. They're winning 8-5 in the top of the fourth.
That series been like every game in that series been going over by a mile. Like in the third inning is over.
Yeah, the bats have been on fire for both teams right now. But yeah, we'll start actually in Cincinnati. 6:41 start. Miami on the road taking on Cincinnati. Yuri Perez is making his return back. He got sent down to the minors not because of his performance, just because of the inning pitch, and they kind of wanted to save him for the playoffs if they made it. But they've been slipping. They have the worst record since the All-Star break, so they need some wins here. I do think they're the right side. I just don't know. 10.5 seems extremely high. I know winds are blowing out. Cincinnati is a hitter's ballpark, but 10.5 seems extremely high for an offense like the Marlins, who are struggling right now. So I think Perez is going to perform like he did when he was in the majors last month. He's already faced this Reds team in his first start in the majors. He only gave up 2 runs. And actually, all 5 of his starts on the road have all gone under this number. So 10.5 seems extremely high. So that's going to be my first play of the day. Elvis, what do you got?
My first play, Dill. We're going to Cleveland, Dill. I'm gonna take the dog of the day. Give me the Toronto Blue Jays on the money line. Oh my God, it flipped. I called Toronto plus 130 earlier. They minus 125 now. Wow. They flipped. Wow, that threw me off guard, people. Sorry about that. That just threw me off guard. But yeah, I ended up taking Toronto on the money line. Over under sitting at 8.5 in Cleveland. Toronto's minus 125 on the money line, people. I'm gonna be honest, that just threw me off guard. They were plus 130 earlier. Pitching change.
Haiju
What's
Ryu.
Raju Ryu is going now. That's why. And the fact that he's the favorite, hey, I still like Toronto just because Toronto has been taking care of business. They fucking whipped the Red Sox asses over the weekend. So I'm gonna roll with the harder team. I still like them. Give me the Blue Jays money line.
Yeah, you mentioned Red Sox have kind of regressed a little bit after their hot start after the All-Star break, but yeah, I like Henry Ryu. He's making his first return since a while. I think he hasn't pitched since May or June, so a couple months off. But I'm gonna break my rule. I agree with you. I actually like the Blue Jays here. I usually like to fade the pitcher or any player making their return. But the Blue Jays, they're playing better baseball right now. And the Guardians, they just lost the first place lead. They've lost 4 of their last 5 games. And Gavin Williams pitching for them at home. All of his quality starts are against bad teams. The Blue Jays are not a bad team. So I think the Blue Jays take care of them. I think they back up Henry Ryu. So I'll take the Blue Jays as well. I got them at a minus 112. It's at 2 minus 125. So money is coming in on them. But yeah, that's my second play. Elvis, what else you got?
Dill, you're not gonna like this one, Dill, but this is another one where I thought long and hard, and guess what, Dill? We head into New York, Dill. Chicago Cubs taking on the New York Mets. Shop around the over under. I see some at 9, some at 8.5. So shop around, people. Give me the Chicago Cubs plus 100 on the money line, Dill. Smiley on the mound. Dill. I'm just fading the Mets for the rest of the season. Y'all gave up on the season. Guess what? I'm rolling right there with the ownership as well, Dill. The Cubs ain't that good, Dill, but in the past month, I think they're a little better than the Mets, Dill. So give me the Chicago Cubs on the money line, plus 100.
Hey, we could both win this because I'm going to take the Mets in the first 5 minus a half. I don't trust them to keep the lead, but as long as Kodai Senga does go a strong 5-6 innings, I do think this is a good bet. They are the favorite after losing 6 straight for a reason. They have the pitching advantage here with Kodai Senga. And like we've handicapped Senga all season. He's a guy you want to back at Citi Field, fade on the road. I think he could have a nice start here. Both pitchers have familiarity with each other, both low-scoring affairs when they versed each other. So actually, I would stay away from the total. It's kind of an ugly day over here. It might rain again, so could be windy as well. So stay away from that. But I'm going to back the better pitcher. Drew Smiley is not a guy I really want to back, especially with the Cubs. Cubs have been doing well, but I think this is a good spot for the Mets. Mets first 5 minus a half for me is my third play. What's your next one?
Dill, this is my last play of the night, Dill. We're going to the Los Angeles, Dill. Give me the San Francisco Giants taking on the Los Angeles Angels. Giants sitting at minus 120 favorite. Over under sitting at 8.5, Dill. I'm gonna go with the Giants on the road, Dill. Your boy Shohei Ohtani, honestly, our boy Shohei Ohtani's on a little bit of slump ever since your boy Drake wore his jersey out.
I saw that.
So, at the end, the Angels, they go on a little hot streak. They win like 4 out of 5 here and there, and then they go on another losing streak. So, they've been wishy-washy all year, Dill. And I'm gonna be honest, I think the Giants are finally hitting a little stride, finally getting a little form. I'm gonna take the Giants on the money line on the road, Dill.
Yeah, I like the Giants here as well. That's not my last play. My last play is I'll go to the last game. It's going to be the Rangers at Oakland taking on the Athletics. Minus 255 on the money line for the Rangers. Minus 1.5 is at minus 145. Over under is at 9. So I got it minus 1.5 earlier in the day at minus 115. I also got the over when it was at 8. Even at the 9, I still like the over. You got wind blowing out. And we all know how the ball loves to travel in the Bay Area. Plus, the Rangers, they've been scorching the ball. They're averaging 7 runs per game in the past week, while the A's, they're not really scoring a bunch, but they're sure allowing a bunch. They're allowing 5.7 runs per game in their past 5 games. So I think we're going to see a shootout here. I know we like to back our boy Ken Waldichuk at home, but this just isn't one of those spots. Against the best lineup in baseball, I think this is a bad spot for him. So I think the Rangers kill him. Minus 1.5 for the Rangers, and I also take the over as well. Any other plays on the diamond I forgot or left out for you?
Nah, everything else is kind of like, it's either too rich, whatnot. Like, I do like the Brewers at home, but I'm not gonna lay the run line with them. And then another lean, I like the Red Sox at home, deal, but we were getting smoked as of late, and I don't trust them right now to lay the run line against Kansas City. Even though Kansas City's hot dog shit, but
Yeah.
we've been real bad as of late too. So I'm not gonna suggest to lay the run line, but I do expect the Red Sox to take care of business today.
Yeah, the only other lean I guess I had, thank God I didn't take it. I was gonna take the Padres too today. I kind of like the Twins -1.5. You could get plus money here. I'm just basically fading Joey Wentz. I just don't like him. His hard hit rate is hovering around 50%. The Twins also just beat Wentz in back-to-back starts in early June, and uh, Detroit lost both of those games by 2 or more runs as well. So, Twins, they're putting some wins together over the weekend. I think this is another series where, they could keep the momentum going. So that'd be my other lean, but nothing real official. But before we get to the NFC East and we continue our two-a-days, a quick word from our sponsor. We are brought to you by Viva Tequila Seltzer, the most refreshing hard seltzer on the market. It's no wonder why Viva was voted #1 hard seltzer in the world by San Francisco World Spirit Competition, with only 88 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugar, and a light 4.5 ABV. Viva is the perfect drink for your post-game celebrations, as it was created with that active lifestyle in mind. We flavor tequila seltzer because flavor is the spice of life, and we like our drinks with just a kick, just like how we like our lives. Whether it's Huckleberry playing around a golf with the boys or an elderberry after a Saturday morning workout, it doesn't matter. Our favorites pair perfectly with that Artisanal Blanco tequila for that subtle and refreshing drink. Our belief here at the Dream Wager and at Viva is to live long, live well, and live it up. All right, Elvis. By the way, 1 month from today is the opening day. Who would have thought? I never would have thought the Detroit Lions would be opening up the NFL season at Kansas City. What a game. I love it, to be honest.
I think it's going to be a great game.
Me
Definitely
too.
exciting one. Jared, the way the Lions ended off last season, making that playoff push. I know they didn't get in because the Seahawks ended up winning Week 17, but able to go into Green Bay, take care of business. They basically kicked Aaron Rodgers out of.
They did. If Green Bay would have won, they would have made the playoffs.
Yeah,
they spoiled them. I love it.
Still, so I like everything I saw last season. I think Dan Campbell is a great coach. I think Jared Goff finally found coaching staff that has confidence in him. I love the running game. Well, Jamal Williams did leave, but Sweat is still there. They still got a dynamic deal receiving wise. Jamal Williams will return after
Week 6.
Good O-line. Have a pretty good O-line. Defense it's not there yet, but it's definitely improved from what we saw last season, because that was an atrocious defense last season, especially early on, the first 8-10 weeks. But still, I can't wait to talk about the Lions.
Me too. Spoiler, I think they might win the division. My thing is, and everyone was counting them out. You mentioned it. They started the 1-6 season, and this isn't a Lion preview real quick, but we just got talking real quick. And then everyone was starting to write Dan Campbell out, and he goes, no, we got the right guys in here. And then they went on that run. Way to end the season. That's how you want to end it. Hey, if you're not going to go in, fuck it. Play spoiler and knock him out.
People, for people listening, a little caveat on the side. I picked up Jared Goff like week 12, went up to win the Super Bowl.
I love Jared Goff now. I think he's I was listening to, he was on a sports podcast about a few weeks ago, and he was just talking, and he goes, me going from Super Bowl and like a great organization, and then basically being like, oh, well, now you're going to the Midwest in a rebuild. And, his whole mindset, he was thinking like maybe football wasn't for him. And then he goes, me and Dan Campbell are just, we connect so well. He goes, I'll go to fucking war for that guy. He would go to war for all of us. And I think you're right. I think he's found his home in Detroit, Yo,
Dill, I'm going to be honest. I'm so glad you say that, because we both know what you thought about Jared Goff just a year ago today. Just a year ago today, we know what you thought about Jared Goff. And now look at you.
Yeah, he's made me a believer. I actually think Jared Goff is not bad at all. But lots more to talk about for Jared Goff in about a few weeks, maybe next week. But let's start with the Dallas. How Falcons. No.
Cowboys.
Right now, Super Bowl to win 14-1. The NFC plus 600. They have the second best odds for the NFC East at plus 175. Win total is at 9.5. Chalky minus 162 to the over plus 132. Very enticing, the under plus 132. And to make the playoffs minus 225, they're going to make the playoffs. It's a weak NFC. Any of those entice you? I'll start maybe not with the Super Bowl. How about, do you give them a chance to the NFC or the division?
Not the NFC, just because they'll realistically, I can't see them beating the 49ers. I don't see them beating. Honestly, I give them a shot to beat the Eagles.
I do too.
But the 49ers, the 49ers are too good. Eagles are good. And I expect some teams that's, like wishy-washy, like the Lions. How good the Lions are going to be. How good, or the other team, the NFC West, are going to be. So, or the Seahawks going to be good. Or the Rams are going to be back. So those are my thing. I like a few other teams a little more than the Cowboys, though. So maybe the Cowboys finally reach an NFC Championship game since 1995, but I wouldn't even put money there.
Yeah. To be honest, I do think the Eagles are going to regress just a little. They're still going to be a playoff team and still be a very good team. That's not what I'm saying, but I do think they're going to come off that high that they got so up there last season. And I think it's worth a shot at the NFC East plus 175. And if that can cut down the turnovers and not get sacked, to be honest, I think they have one of the best offenses they have the best offense in the division. The defense is right up there. I like their secondary, their front seven with Micah Parsons. They traded for Stephon Gilmore. I think that's going under the radar. And I love Dan Quinn and his defense. He gets after the quarterback. So plus 175, I mean, it's worth a shot. I think they're going to be one or two games right there for the Eagles. So I'll throw a flyer on the NFC East. I think there's a shot. I agree. I need a bigger number for the NFC because I do think the 49ers are the team to beat in the NFC, because if you look at it right now, the leader to win the NFC, oh wow, it is the Eagles at plus 330.
No, the Eagles got it because the Eagles I understand you. They might not be as good as they were last season. They had a top 5 defense, top 5 offense, number 1 running game,
Yeah.
They might not have a top five, offense and defense and the number 1 running game, but I think they can still be top 10 in both sides and still have a top 5 running game.
What about the win total sitting at 9.5? Because even if you do like the over, which I think a lot of people do, you're paying minus 162 on it. Maybe you get exactly 10. Maybe you get a better number at that. What did you come up here with the win total?
Still, I took the over. I like the exact. You could go exactly 10 wins if you want. At plus 600, plus 500, but they'll realistically, I think you just got to go with the over just because I think I got exactly 10 wins. So if you like the over more and you feel exactly 10 wins, you could do plus 550. But it wouldn't shock me if this Cowboys team win 11 games, they win 10 games, but still, I like the over. It's just, am I going to bet minus 162? But people, to win exactly 11 games plus 550, to win exactly 10 games plus 550. So I'd rather sprinkle some money on those instead, because I do expect this Cowboys team to win at least 10 games, minimum 10 games.
Yeah, I know it's chalky. I was actually looking on the under because you're getting a very good price at plus 132. It's just, I couldn't get there. At first, like I said, I was going to stay away or take the under, but I counted 10 wins. First 6 games are tough for them. Yeah. I think they could finish 3-3. The back half of the schedule is tough as well. They're playing the Eagles on the road in back-to-back weeks. They're playing the Eagles at home, then on the road in back-to-back weeks against the Bills and the Dolphins. Those are no gimmies. And then they're coming home to play the Lions, who we just think are going to be better than they were last year, which are no joke. And then they're ending the season on the road against a division foe in the Commanders, who we'll talk about in a second. So I don't know. My main concern with this team is Dak. I think Dak, he has to avoid getting sacked this year. His sack rate has gone up each of the past 4 years, besides the year he got hurt. His QBR has gone down as well, especially with all the money that they've given him. Well, who knows what's going to go on with Zach Martin, but I am banking on the team with the amount of talent they have, especially on the offensive side of the ball, to win 10 games. They're favored in 11 of the 17 games. I also like they brought in Brandon Cooks, give them some depth at the wide receiver position. And let's not forget, last year the Cowboys went 4-1 with my boy Cooper Rush
Yeah.
against the Bengals and against the Giants, two playoff teams.
And
so
they beat Minnesota.
A 3. So, this team is very talented. This honestly is the most talented roster in the NFC, I think. Talent-wise. Like, on paper, I think they might be the most talented.
On the whole NFC or the East?
I think the NFC, especially, let's say on the offensive side of the ball. I think they're the most talented on the offensive side of the ball. And I don't know. I just couldn't get myself to go on the under. As much as I wanted to take the under, I think this team wins 10, 11 games and gets into the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm at a 10, 11 wins as well.
Now, my question is, before we get to player props, I'm not high on Mike McCarthy at all. I think he got in the way of a lot of things. Now, you want to say he won a Super Bowl? Cool. A lot of bad coaches won Super Bowls. He's ranked the 27th head coach in the league. Now, I might not agree with that, but those are what the rankings say. Do you think, one, is he the 27th ranked coach in your opinion? And two, are they going to, and because we saw how aggressive they were with Kellen Moore, they're going to want to run the ball, because he said it last year when Kellen Moore was passing the ball. He said, just run the damn ball. He's that old school mindset where they want to win up front. But now if you don't have Zach Martin there, what do you see is going to happen with that change in play calling?
Still, I agree with you. I do expect him to run the ball more, because that's what McCarthy. I said Paul McCarthy. Mike McCarthy wants.
Shout out Paul McCarthy, though.
Yeah, shout out Paul McCarthy. But Dill, honestly, Dill, I think this offense is best when they're passing the ball with Dak Prescott. To be honest, you said they have the best offense in the NFC. I wouldn't go that far, Dill, but I can't argue that. They have literally one of the most talented wide receiver cores in the NFC. You got CD, who I think is special. You got Brandon Cooks, who can still blow the top off. And you got Michael Gallup, who's a fucking steady number 2, number 3 when healthy. When he's on the field, he's a solid number 2. So, and I think Tony Pollard could be up there with a top 10 running back this season. So I do agree with that, Dill. It's just I like Mike Dill, but it's just play calling sometimes is iffy, So do I trust him? No, I don't think he's the 27th best coach in the NFL. I think he should be ranked a little higher, but I understand why he's ranked so low. But I don't expect this Dallas Cowboys to average 29.3 points a game moving forward.
So they brought in Brian Schottenheimer as their new OC, but he won't be calling the plays. Like I said, it will be Mike McCarthy. He didn't like the way Kellen Moore called the plays, which I don't understand. Kellen Moore was a great offensive coordinator, in my opinion. I just didn't think sometimes Dak did the right thing. But that's neither here or there. So I don't know. They did bring in Rojo as well to, I don't know. I think that's a weak area for them, is the running back room. I think head coach and running back room is the missing pieces that they have. I think quarterback, I think he's the top. Yeah.
Still, I still think Mike could get the job done. If you're expecting out there to go win a Super Bowl or go lead the NFL in passing yards, touchdowns, total points, that's not going to happen, Dill. But I do believe Mike McCarthy, with, like you said, with that Dan Quinn-led defense, could make some noise, Dill. They got pretty far last season. They were an atrocious 2, maybe 3 passes, atrocious Dak Prescott passes away from going to the NFC Championship game, Dill. You said it yourself. If that throw those 2 interceptions, they're winning that game. The defense did their part. So can Mike McCarthy dice something up to help Dak Prescott in that offense. I still give him a chance, though. Do I expect him to average
Yeah.
29.3 points a game? No.
No.
But do I expect him to be different? Yes.
Largely because of the pieces on the offensive side of the ball, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
CeeDee
agree.
Lamb. I expect CeeDee Lamb to be a little better than he was last season. I expect Brandon Cook to open up a couple passing lanes for the middle of the field, for the tight ends, for CD, for Michael Gallup. So I just feel like they're gonna be better. So I can honestly say this might be the best wide receiver core Dak Prescott had in his whole career.
No, I agree. That's why I just couldn't get myself over it. But Mike McCarthy, he will cost them a game or two just with his
Yeah,
play
he will,
calling.
but
He will.
he will also win a game or two, Bill.
I agree. I agree. But yeah, so we're both over it. We both think they'll make the playoffs. We both think they'll go over their win total. They're a 10, 11 win team, I think.
Possibly
And
12.
possibly 12.
Remember, this team won. Sorry to cut you off, though.
No, you're
This
good.
team won double digits games last season, like you said, with Cooper Rush as the quarterback. 4-1 with Cooper Rush. They lost a close one in Philadelphia. It, Dak Prescott, he got hurt and they were still able to go 4-1. Though that speaks volumes. How many teams? Well, how many playoff caliber teams go out there and win 4 out of 5 with a backup quarterback?
Yeah, not a lot. And that was two, the play calling and Kellen Moore, and also his weapons on offense. They went.
But
They
Dill,
went.
that was also top 5 defense for
Of course. Yeah, no,
especially
I
that
love their
5-game
defense.
stretch. Yeah.
I think, like I said, I love this team. I think, and it pains me to say it because it's the Dallas Cowboys, but they're a very good football team, and they've won 12. They went 12-5 in back-to-back years. So to say that they're going to fall off 3 games, I just don't see it, even with the departure of Kellen Moore. So we both got them going to playoffs. I got a little. I think they have a chance at the division, but. We're speaking of Dak Prescott, his passing yards, 3,875.5, minus 112 both ways. His touchdowns, 26.5, minus 118 towards the over, minus 108 towards the under. We'll start with Dak Prescott. What do you like here, or if anything?
Dill, I know you might not agree with me, Dill. Give me Dak Prescott over 3,875 passing yards, Dill. In the last 3 out of the last 5 seasons, when healthy, Dak Prescott has exceeded this number by few hundred. He's a 4,000-yard passer all year long, Dill. And if Dak Prescott's in there to play at least 15 games, I expect him to be around 4,000, Dill. So give me Dak Prescott over. Hopefully, no thumb injury, no ankle. If Dak plays healthy, I expect him to exceed not just the over 3,875, but 4,000 passing yards.
How about you don't like the touchdowns, though?
No, just because, I expect them to run the ball in the red zone, not have Dak force anything. And then remember, Dak can also score a few with his legs as well, though. So I expect Dak to be around 23 to 25 passing touchdowns. I'm not going to hammer the over 26.5. Would it shock me if he gets over it? Absolutely not. But I'm not going to bet my hard-earned money on it. But I think Dak goes over 4,000 passing yards.
Yeah, this one was tough. I mean, I really didn't like the touchdowns at all. I thought it was a little high. I'm not going to lie. I do like the passing yards over if he could stay on the field. If he plays 15 to 17 games, I think he gets 4,000 yards as well, especially with the addition of Brandon Cooks. He's a 1,000-yard receiver every year, basically. And they got CeeDee Lamb. I think Michael Gallup's is very underrated as well. Tony Pollard could catch the ball out of the backfield as well. So he has a ton of options he could hit. I like the yards over. I want to get your opinion to lead the league in interceptions at 10-1. I mean, it's worth a shot.
Dill, this guy just was tied last season with missing 5 games. I think this is one of the bets you got to play, especially at plus 1,000. Are you serious?
Yeah.
So this guy was tied to lead the league last season with missing 5 games. I can honestly say if he plays all 17, he's going to throw at least 12. And I think his over-under is 12.5, right?
For most interceptions?
I think his total interception is 12.5.
Yeah, something along that. I don't have the number right in front of me, but
I'll be honest, I might have to go the over as well.
yeah. I sprinkled a little on him and Baker Mayfield, to be honest. Baker Mayfield has 7 interceptions and 9 throws in training camp so far.
I'm gonna be honest.
That's not good.
I don't think Baker Mayfield's gonna play enough games to lead the league. And
He's
unless he
gonna
throw,
get he's gonna get pulled. They're gonna put
yeah,
Kyle Trask in.
yeah.
No, I agree. So yeah, those are my Dak plays as well. I think it's worth a sprinkle to lead the league in interceptions. Tony Pollard now. Rushing yards 975 and a half minus 112 both ways. His rushing touchdowns over 7.5 plus 100 under minus 128. Anything you like here?
Still, give me over 20 Pollard rushing 975 and a half. Still, I like this kid Tony Pollard. I like him a lot. I think he could be a top 10 running back this upcoming season if he stays healthy. I think he's a problem. I even like his over total touchdown. If he could find the receiving, I was looking for it. Still, I think he could catch at least 3 to 5, maybe 6 touchdowns from the backfield receiving. So if you could find not just his total rushing touchdowns, just total touchdowns in period with catching and rushing, I expect him to go over that, and I expect him to be 1,000 yard running back though.
Yeah, I had to pass on everything because he's just gone over this number. Last year was his kind of breakout year. I do think he could get it, and we talked about it earlier when we started talking about the Cowboys. We do expect them to run it a little more with Mike McCarthy calling the plays now. But at a certain point, if they get down, they're going to pass the ball. I think, like you said, this offense flourishes way better when they're passing the ball with Dak Prescott. Their offense isn't built to run the ball. Their offense is built to
Yeah,
throw it.
yeah, I agree with that. But it's just a funny stat out there, which is a fact.
Let me
You
hear
know,
it.
Dak Prescott is like 20 something and 0 in his career when the Cowboys have over 100 rushing yards. He has never lost a game when the Cowboys exceed over 100 rushing yards.
That's interesting. And he had Zeke for all those years, too.
Yeah,
So,
that's why Zeke was out
yeah.
here carrying the team. So, still, I think that's why I keep saying Paul, Mike McCarthy wants to go back to the running game just
Yeah.
because Dak Prescott is undefeated when the Cowboys rush for over 100 yards. It's a
Yeah,
fact.
no, I agree. I just couldn't get there with anything with Tony Pollard. We'll start with the wide receivers, though. Brandon Cooks, his receiving yards is at 700 and a half. CeeDee Lamb, his receiving yards, 1,075 and a half. Receiving touchdowns for CeeDee Lamb, 7.5. I got to go over. This is one of my favorite plays. I'm over for Brandon Cooks. If he doesn't miss time, he's an automatic 1,000-yard receiver. Just period. He's one of the greats. I mean, he's only gone under this number in 3 of his 9 seasons in the league. And last year, he went under this number by 1 yard. So basically, he's gone under this number in 2 of the 9 years in the league.
And he didn't play the last 2 games because he was just over it.
He would have got 1,000 yards. So Dak is going to love Brandon Cooks as another weapon. All the focus, obviously, is going to be on CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee's in the prime of his life right now. So everything's going to be focused. They're going to have double coverage over the top on CeeDee Lamb. That's going to leave one-on-one coverage for a veteran like Brandon Cooks. Whew, 700 is very disrespectful. So I got to hammer the over there. That's one of my favorite plays. Give me the over for CeeDee Lamb as well, 1,075 and a half. This number seems a little low. He's gone over this number in back-to-back seasons. He's had 1,200 and 1,300 in back-to-back seasons. He only went under his rookie year, and he's in his rookie year, he still got over 900 receiving yards. So I don't think many of the targets are going to be taken away in the addition of Brandon Cooks. I still think he's going to get a lot of his catches. So CeeDee Lamb, another one over. I didn't take his over touchdowns, but yeah, I love CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks over their receiving yards. How about you?
Still, I can't. I agree with everything you just said, Dill. I like CD's props a little more just because there's always a question in Brandon Cooks if he's going to be healthy or not. I like Brandon Cooks over. I'm smashing it as well, but you got to. Is he going to play, 15 plus games? That's the thing. CD Lamb, he's been consistent, like you said, back to back 1,200 plus seasons still. With that being said, I felt like 1075 was disrespectful as well. To me, it should have been up there at least 1,200, at least 1175. A little more respectful, people.
Yeah.
So give me CD Lamb over 1075 and a half. Give me CD Lamb over 7.5 touchdowns. This is another number I felt like it was too low. Like, I understand if you don't think CD Lamb is a double-digit touchdown receiver. I understand that. But you're not telling me your man not about to get 8. So I like CD Lamb over receiving touchdowns 7.5. I even like him to get plus 10 plus receiving touchdowns at plus money. So give me CDM over receiving yards and touchdowns as well, Dill.
Now, if we go on the defense side of the ball, Micah Parsons, sack leader, plus 900. I think there's a little value there. But they actually gave out, as we're starting to go through the dog days of summer in August, more defensive player props have come out. So Micah Parsons' sack number is at 1275, minus 112 both ways. Another number that's disrespectful. I have to hammer the over here. Parsons is their best player on defense, point blank, period. He's gone back-to-back seasons in his rookie year and last year were 13-plus sacks. Dan Quinn is notoriously known for bringing the pressure. He's going to blitz. He's going to get off the edge, and that means less people touching Micah Parsons. 12 and a half, I think he gets around 13, 14 again. So I got to hammer the over Micah Parsons over his sacks. How about you? Any opinion there?
Say, give me Micah Parsons over 12 and 75, so 3/4 of a sack over Dill. I'm surprised this number is a little higher. I expected it to be around 14.
At least 13.
At least 13, 14. I'm shocked that it's this low. And Dill, give me a sprinkle at plus 900. Micah Parsons to lead the NFL in sacks. Hear me out, people. I'm not saying he's the best sack defensive lineman in the league. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying for the past 2 seasons, he's been one of the most consistent defensive linemen in football. So I think Micah Parsons is going to be in there 16, 17 games. And if Micah Parsons plays 16, 17 games still, I think he leads the NFL in sacks. So give me the ticket right now, plus 900, Micah Parsons to lead the NFL in sacks.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's worth a sprinkle as well, leading in the league in sacks. At plus 900, you're almost getting 10-1 on that. So even if he starts slow and has a slow beginning of the season, maybe you could get a bigger number in season as well. But yeah, I think we're lockstep on the Cowboys. I think they're gonna have a good year. I think they're worth a shot to get the NFC East. I do think they could beat the Eagles, but other than that, yeah, we're pretty lockstep in our assessment of how this upcoming season for the Cowboys are going to be. Let's switch on over to that, it's kind of in the rebuilding stage. The I'm calling them the Redskins. I've said it right now. I don't care. I can't call them the Commanders. It just looks ugly. Super Bowl 65-1. The NFC 30-1. They have the last place odds to win the NFC East at 13-1. Win total 6.5, over minus 104, under minus 118. To make the playoffs, plus 310, minus 420 for a no. I mean, I guess the really only thing we can bet on right now is the win total, because I don't want to speak for you, but I don't think you got them going that far, right?
Joe.
Yeah. Joe. Yeah, so let's talk about the win total. 6.5. I'll start. I'll actually start here. They're favored in 2 games, which is kind of surprising to me, to be honest. They do have a tough schedule, but I love that they added Eric Bieniemy as their new offensive coordinator. They're bringing in a lot of what the Chiefs did when he was in Kansas City. They're watching a lot of Patrick Mahomes and trying to emulate that offense and try to bring it to Washington. Now, whether to do that or not is a different story, but I think they're building a culture here in Washington with Eric Bieniemy. So I think the issue with them isn't their defense. I love their defense. I think they have a really good defense. It's the offense. Offensive line was dealt with injury last year. They're not really good. Their running back room, they're young. They have a young QB in Sam Howell, even though he has looked good in training camp. And I think as much as you and I like him, I think it's a prove it year for Ron Rivera. If he has another bad year, I don't know if he's going to stay there. And I think Eric Bieniemy will get the head coaching job. So, I was looking at their schedule, but, looking deeper into it, they have one of the highest net rest advantages. They have 5 games with more rest advantage than their opponent compared to a single game last season. So they're going to be coming into a lot of these games more well-rested than their other team, which I don't think should go under the radar. Like I said, their defense, I love their defense. They finished last season top 5 in EPA per play, first in defense success rate while playing a top 10 schedule. But the problem is they only had 18 turnovers last season, 9 interceptions, So I expect a positive regression. Chase Young is going to be playing this year, fully healthy Chase Young. I think their defense is actually going to keep them into most games. Now, the question is Sam Howell. Can he take care of the ball? Can he put points up with that offense? He has some good receivers with Curtis Samuel, Terry McLaurin. You got Lane Thomas as well. They got that guy Dotson as well. He's a rookie in the slot. So if they could put some points up, I think they'll surprise some teams here. Give me the over 6.5, Elvis.
Wow, Dill. Don't get me wrong. I like this Commanders team.
See, my boy Z plays his back from the cruise. He got the over too. That's my boy.
I couldn't go with the over, Dill. I do like what's going on. I like Eric Bieniemy. I do think he could spice the offense up a little bit, Dill. But when you have a quarterback, when you're in training camp, when you have a quarterback battle between Jacoby Brissett and Sam Howell, that's cause for concern, Dill. I I like what I saw from Sam Howell against the Cowboys in week 15, week 16, whatever it was, Dill.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe the Cowboys didn't take it seriously. It wasn't no film on him. So I don't know what to expect if they go with Sam Howell. I don't know what to expect on the upcoming season. The only thing I could go by is Eric Bieniemy. Can he turn Sam Howell into a mini Patrick Mahomes or a Patrick Mahomes Jr.? That's the question still. So I would love to see it. I'm just not going to bet it, Dill. So I counted 6 wins with the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to take Washington Commanders to win exactly 6 games at plus 500, Dill. I'm not going to go with you over. The division's tough, and then the question mark at the quarterback. Jacoby's there. Sam Howell is there. I do expect Sam Howell to start, but if he doesn't, do you expect Jacoby to go out there and win 6 games? I don't. I love the defense. I like what they're doing offensively. I like Antonio Gibson. I like Brian Robinson Jr., T.J. McCurran. He's a Pro Bowler. I think he's
Terry.
He could be a top 10 wide receiver potentially. Dill. It's just the question mark is Sam Howell.
It's Sam Howell. Absolutely.
Is he going to be it?
And I think, like I said, it's also the head coach. I love Ron Rivera. Shout out him. He beat fucking cancer. But, Jacoby Brissett. I don't also. Yeah, Gibson is a fumbling machine. That's a good point.
That's why I fuck with Brian Robinson Jr. But Gibson can make some plays, but he can't be trusted as the number 1 back.
Jacoby can win some games. I don't think it's a QB competition. I think he's saying that to get the best out of his rookie, to get the best out of Sam Howell. And I think he can. I think he's making no-look passes on training camp. Now, I know you don't take too much into training camp, but, he's lighting it up. And, yeah, granted, there wasn't a lot of tape on him, but I think both of them could win 3-4 games each. I think they're favorite against home opener against Arizona. I think they win there. No Kyler Murray.
They should win that game.
They're 6-point favorites.
Yeah,
like that's if Washington is 6-point favorites, that's saying something.
If Colt McCoy goes in there and hook them,
I think they could win there. On the road in Mile High is tough. They'll probably lose there. They're home against Buffalo. That's a tough one. On the road against Philly, I think that's tough. So 1-3. I think
they did beat Philly one time last season.
Yeah. I think they could beat Chicago at home. I think that's a toss-up game. On the road against Atlanta, I think that's another toss-up game. I think they could split against the Giants. I think they're going to regress this season. So that's 4 right there. I think it's a toss-up against you guys. You guys should win. You guys are 2-point favorites right now, but anything could change. That's week 9. Yeah. Seahawks, I think that's a toss-up as well.
I think that's a little harder than
all right. So I won't give them that. So that's 5. Giant, Cowboys, Miami. Those are hard. Then you got the bye. I think 6. It's a toss-up. Then it's the Rams. That's 6. I think they could beat them at home. Then it's the Jets, 49ers, and Cowboys. You finish kind of tough, but I counted 6 as well. Yeah. But I could see them winning a game they're not supposed to. Like you said, they beat Philly last year. Say Philly fucks up and Jalen Hurts, God forbid, goes down. They could win that game.
But, they could also lose to, a team like Chicago. They could get swept by the Giants. I'm not saying they will.
No.
But they can.
Think.
They can, because they can.
I don't know. I don't know
Healthy
about that
Saquon. Daniel Jones still plays like he did last season, if Daniel Jones look like he did last season that's going to be 2 tough games against the Giants.
I can't wait because next episode we got the Giants and the Eagles, and I'm so down on the Giants this season. But
That's
yeah,
crazy.
I like the over. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. All my friends in the DMV area, they've convinced me. I gotta go with the over. I like rooting for the Redskins, to be honest. Now player props, no quarterback props for Sam Howell. Like I said, he has looked good in camp, so we'll see how that goes.
That's another bad sign. No props out.
Yeah, no props out. Brian Robinson Jr., you did mention him. His rushing yards, 725.5, minus 112 both ways. I got to go over. I mean, even with the 12, he went over this number in 12 games. He missed, 5-6 games last season?
He was shot. He got
and
shot.
Came back to many men. That was one of the hardest walkouts of all season. Of all time. So he's going to be healthy, 100% healthy this season with a full off season in under Eric Bieniemy. Eric Bieniemy is going to put him in the right position to succeed with the quarterback that's a rookie. I think that, he's going to lean on the run game a little more, take some pressure off of Sam Howell. So 725.5 seems a little low. I got to hammer the over here. How about you?
Yeah, same deal. I was shocked that it was at 725.5. Maybe they expect, Antonio Gibson to get a little more, or they probably expect, Eric Bieniemy to throw the ball 45 times a game. I don't know what it is, but 725.5 is just too short. Like you said, he went over this number after being shot and missing 4 games. I don't understand how Vegas don't pick that up. This dude was shot. Didn't train, didn't go to training camp, was injured, had to do rehab, and still went over this number this year. Now, this man is not shot. He's practicing every day. He's going to play in the preseason. Then he's going to play all 6. Well, hopefully play all 17 games. Bro, that's a 1,000-yard back if he's played 17 games. If you're going off the pace of last season.
Yeah.
And I can make a case. He's going to have better room to run without Carson Wentz being at quarterback.
Did you see the Carson Wentz picture where he looked like an orphan?
Yeah, he had I think the Eagles helmet on, Colts shirt on, and Washington Commanders shorts on. I was and then I was like, oh, he is a free agent.
That kid might not get picked up. No,
put like this though. Put like this. Your boy Zeke might get picked up before Carson.
Shout out Zeke, man. Still out there trying to get a contract.
You owe me something, too. You owe me something off that.
I know. But, yeah, no, I saw that picture. I was like, yo, he's hilarious. He looked like one of those orphans with just all these different teams, and he had different I was like, damn, I forgot he played all those teams.
At least he wants to play.
He's out there putting that work in.
He still has one of the biggest arms in the NFL. Not accurate at all, but... can Carson Wentz go out there and win a couple games in the NFL?
I don't know.
Yes. Come on. A couple games. I'm not saying go win the division.
I don't think he's better than Jacoby Brissett. Come on. Jacoby Brissett's won games.
But he has a higher ceiling than Jacoby Brissett. Talent level, he has more talent.
Yes, but the problem is getting to that ceiling, which a lot of people never get to.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Could Carson Wentz go out there and light it up for a half? Or maybe a game or two,
or a quarter.
But if you wanted to go for a month straight,
nah, that's not your guy. No, yeah. So we both like Brian Robinson Jr. over his rushing yards. No rushing touchdowns for him. To go over to the wide receiver. You got Terry McLaurin, his receiving yards 950.5, minus 112 both ways. Jahan Dotson, his receiving yards 700.5, minus 112 both ways, and then Terry McLaurin receiving touchdowns at 4.5 as well. I'll start with this one. Give me the over for everything for Terry McLaurin. I mean, this guy, draft Terry McLaurin. He's going to be a top 10 fantasy wide receiver this year. I promise you that. Draft him. He's a 1,000-yard receiver. He's gone over this number in 3 straight seasons. The only year he didn't get his 1,000 yards was his rookie season, where he got 920, which is 30 more yards. That's one game, basically. And back then, they didn't have the extra game. They have the extra game this season. He's a 1,000-yard receiver. He's their number one option. Sam Howell's going to get him the ball. And Terry McLaurin has come out in this training camp and said, he looks great. He gets me the ball. Our connection is good. I'm telling you, he's going to have a really big year. Over 4.5. He's gone over this in 3 of his last 4 seasons as well. For touchdowns, I think he gets 5-6 touchdowns. I think he gets 1,100 yards as well. Draft him in fantasy. I love Terry McLaurin. Give me everything over for him.
Same deal. Give me the over receiving total yards and receiving touchdowns. At 4.5 is a little disrespectful. At 950, I understand it just because Sam Howell, you got the question at quarterback deal. But with Eric Bieniemy at calling the plays, though, I expect him to get Terry McLaurin open as much as possible. And it's Sam Howell's job to at least hit the open receiver deal. So I expect Sam Howell and Terry McLaurin to establish some great connection. Like I agree with you. I expect him to exceed 1,000 yards as well. And I think 4.5 touchdowns, though, is just too low. This man went over touchdowns the last 3 seasons with Carson Wentz, Taylor Heineke. No disrespect to Taylor Heineke.
He's a baller.
He went over with those guys at quarterback, and maybe Sam Howell is just a little better than those guys. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And to be honest, if Eric Bieniemy, maybe he's just saying this because it's the right thing to say, but if Eric Bieniemy is coming out and saying, yo, I like this kid, I see something in him, after after coaching the best quarterback in the league for, the last 5 years?
Since 2018, so 5 seasons.
5 years, yeah. I mean, I'm not calling Eric Bieniemy a liar. Like, he definitely sees something in the kid. I might not see it, but if Eric Bieniemy sees it, he knows ball. So I'm going to trust him. I agree. I think the connection is going to be good. I want to get your opinion real quick on Commanders to have the most sacks. They have the 4th best odd at plus 1,400. Now, when you look at that front 7, got a bunch of Bama boys there. I mean, you got Payne, you got Allen, you got Chase Young, you got Sweat. Those some dogs up front. I think there's a shot.
Dill, to be honest, I think it's worth a sprinkle. I do agree with you, Dill, but I have another team to lead the NFL in sacks.
Wow.
Hint.
We haven't talked about them.
Hint. They tied the NFL record last season.
Oh my God. Okay. I don't know.
They might go break it this season.
Yeah.
You saw what they did in the top with the 10th pick, man.
Yeah, no, I saw it.
That's all I'm saying.
Any more caveats or any more plays for the Redskins or the Cowboys, kid?
Yeah, Dill. It was a little short on the Redskins. Nothing much to talk about. So I'll give a week 1 play early. Lock it in now, people. Week 1, Commanders versus the Cleveland Browns. Give me the Browns minus 1.5. We spoke about the Browns already. We're just speaking about the Commanders. The Browns minus 1.5 week 1. I expect them to take care of business. Sam Howell, first start week 1. Well, second start week 1.
No. Commanders are playing the Cardinals.
You sure?
Yeah, September 10th. That's what I was saying. They open up the Cardinals as a 6-point favorite. The Bengals are playing the Browns.
Oh, that's preseason. My fault.
Yeah.
My fault. To be honest, though,
it's a good teaser spot.
It's a too good teaser spot to minus the 6 people.
Hey, I'll give you a week 1 play. Tease the Commanders minus 6 and opening day. Tease the Chiefs minus 6.5. 2-team teaser. You get the Commanders at a pick 'em 0, and you get the Chiefs minus 0.5.
Be careful with those Super Bowl hangovers, Dill.
Not the Chiefs. Come on. Not the Chiefs, my boy.
I don't know.
But those are good teasers. I love teasers, by the way.
Yeah.
I think
we always give out teasers every week on this show, especially on the Saturday show. Always give out at least one. Dylan always gives out at least 1 or 2.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for the teasers. Trust me, we're going to have a lot of teasers, a lot of player props. I'm always going to hit somebody with a same game parlay. So be ready, people, because I am.
Yeah, it's going to be a hell of a season. Like I said, 1 month till today, week 1. I can't wait. Opening day between the Rams and Bills last year was a good game for like a quarter. And hopefully we have
I took the Bills.
Hey,
plus money.
Me too, baby. So we cash big there. Hopefully we'll be in attendance week 1, Monday Night Football at the MetLife Stadium. Aaron Rodgers taking on Josh Allen. And Von Miller was on a podcast, and he might not be ready for week 1.
He won't, Dill. He won't. I think I expected to be back week 4 or week 5.
Okay, so
Play it
yeah,
safe.
they
No
need
need,
him for the
no,
playoffs.
no need to rush one of the
Yeah.
all-time greats back. No
He's
need
a
to.
first ballot Hall of Famer.
Mhm.
Like I'm tired of people disrespecting Von Miller. To be honest, and he's always been surrounded by great organizations. Denver, yeah, Peyton Manning. Then he went to L.A. with McVay. He won a Super Bowl there, and then he comes here with Josh fucking Allen. I mean, this guy's been just blessed. And then he played an amazing career. I remember him at Texas A&M,
Yeah.
just being a beast, bro. So that was another one, but. Elvis, that's going to do it for this edition of the Dream Wager. Any plans for the rest of the week? What do you got going on?
Nah, dude, hopefully it's just a nice steady week of nice work, good money, and hopefully win some money betting as well.
Yes, sir. Let's do it. That's going to do it for this Monday edition of the Dream Wager. On behalf of our sponsor, Viva Tequila, Elvis, myself, we'll see you guys in a few days. So follow along our social media, Twitter and Instagram at the Dream Wager. You guys could also find our podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher. We also go live on YouTube every Monday and Saturday, youtube.com/The Dream Wager. Subscribe, rate, leave a review. All that good stuff really helps the show grow tremendously. So be a friend, tell a friend, everyone. Good luck on your wagers. Be safe, be well, and we'll see you guys down the road. Peace.